Alrighty then. Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 198. Short stories sharpen your game. As an author, you should always be looking to improve your writing, and short stories give you the opportunity to do that. I do a number of anthologies. I think I've published 25 or 30 so far, and people, even just submitting for them, helps them improve their game because we shoot the first 500 words first just to see, hey, is this story going to catch us, going to hook us, to make us want to keep reading? And I might even reduce that to the first 250 words because I know by then, hey, I want to keep reading or I don't. This is something that the short stories provide. And also, writing those first 250 words, how does that sharpen your game too? That this is it. I don't have to commit and write a whole story and then submit it and hope for the best. I write 250 words and I look at it and say, yes, this hooks and keeps them coming. So that's why the killer first sentence, killer first paragraph, those set that hook and keep the people reading. You got to tell them what the story's about without telling them what the story's about. You can't start world building. You can't do any of that other stuff. So it didn't copy in right to the Be Live screen here, but let me read what my intro is on a short story I just finished. Let the dance begin, for the time is now. Do we die today or not? A champion to challenge, a game to play. A young man stepped onto the bridge, hesitant, until the captain encouraged him. It's all right. We have your place ready. The kindly older gentleman pointed to a clear area between stations where a player would stand, the virtual stage. I like this intro. And also, it's in a science fiction anthology, so it's very clear that this is science fiction. If it wasn't, then I would tweak up that first bit and add in an element like in the background where the star field with an alien spaceship. Okay, to help set that stage. But since it's science fiction, and that's how I put it in. A little bit of literary, a little bit of flow, trying to get that access to the reader's mind, to get them thinking and get them wondering. And then we continue through the whole story. That book, that story came out to, 6,500 words. Good story in my mind. And I was happy with it. The editor liked it, which that's always a big thumbs up for me when my editor likes it. Usually it's like, hey, this is good, as opposed to, I like this story. So you set that hook quickly. You keep the reader on board. You keep them going. And short stories, you got to dispense with the massive world building that you do, especially like fantasy, where it's so much world building, so much background, so much detail that people want. But in a short story, you've got to give them just enough of that while keeping the action going. So, and that sharpens your game. Hey, how can I focus on this one element and bring it to fruition without all of this background where I'm tens of thousands of words on the seduction of this environment, as opposed to what's moving the story forward. Focus on one plot element. You pick one. In this story, the one I started here, it's about the power of a friend, a companionship, a person to help us become more than we are when we're already considered a person who thinks outside the box. That's the player on the virtual stage. So how does that shape up and how does that pan out? 6,500 words on it. The power of a friend. Even though I never say that in there, it's just how I approach it. So how do I go about that? And that's the challenge of doing it in a short story. Can you take this one very small element and bring it to life? Give us a few characters. Don't have too many characters, just a few. Focus on that very small element, and then bring that concept to fruition. Make your point, and a story should support that one point, even if it isn't obvious. And that's the best thing that you can do is after you've written the story, people read it and then come back a day later and say, hey, I've been thinking about that. That's a win. That's the short story, novella, a book, full-length story, a trilogy. If people say, I keep coming back, I keep thinking about that, that's the win. That means you've activated their imagination, you've excited their mind, you've made them think about it. And there's no better win than that. So that's what you do. A short story helps you focus, helps you bring an idea much more quickly, helps you keep the action moving forward. Even if that action is all mental and dialogue and engagement, It's still an action that keeps the reader moving forward with highs and lows. There's lulls, and then there's highs, and then there's lulls again, and until they end the story with some kind of gratification. There you go. Sharpen your game. Write a short story every now and then. All right, everybody. Peace, fellow humans.